in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio, the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm your host, Ralph Brogden, and I know a lot about marketing. I know a lot about strategic communication. I know a lot about the media, but I'll tell you one thing. Even though I went and got my real estate license many years ago, I don't know anything about real estate. It's just, it doesn't click with me. And because of that, I thought, well, I'm never going to be able to invest in real estate because I don't know anything about it. You know, there's real estate investment companies that they handle all of this for you. And this is just amazing to me that if you're interested in real estate and you're interested in investing in real estate, but you don't know where to get started, there's people who can help you. And one of those experts is on today's show. I'm speaking with Guy Bouchard. He is the founder of Top Down Investments. In 2015, when he founded the company, and since then, he has personally overseen and managed the acquisition of over $35 million in real estate assets, and he has earned some very impressive returns. Those returns are all listed on his website, topdowninvestments.com. Guy is an active member in the real estate community, and in 2017, he won the Multifamily of the Year award at the Real Estate Action Group in Vancouver, BC. So joining us from Canada, British Columbia, Guy Bouchard, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, Ralph.
And it's really impressive to go to your website and see what you're doing and see all the projects that you are involved with. But what really intrigues me is if I have some money to invest, and I know that real estate is a good investment, I can invest with you and you handle all of the things that I'm not all that great about. Is that pretty much how it works?
Yeah, that's the nuts and bolts of it right there. You nailed it on your intro there, where you are the majority of people that just don't understand real estate or have enough information about it to benefit in the ways that the actual operators are benefiting in. And so it creates a big challenge for you, not knowing what to do. And we try and provide the solution to that and marry up our ability to operate and generate income through these properties with the people that have the money to back us. And together we're not limited by any means for the projects that we can get involved in.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Like I said, some years ago, I actually went and got my real estate license because, hey, real estate's a great investment. I want to understand it. I went and got licensed as a real estate broker and still couldn't figure out how to make money. Still didn't really understand it. It just didn't fit me. And I guess that's all for the best because I'm in marketing and media and communication and my life went in a different direction. But I always felt like I'm missing out on something because I wasn't able to really figure out the whole real estate thing. You have been at this since you were 21 years old. So what is a struggle for me and for most people comes second nature to you. And I'm curious, how did you get started in real estate? What got you interested in this particular way of building a business and creating a great life for yourself?
Yeah, that kind of brings me back. Don't answer that very often, but yeah, 21 years old was when I bought my first house. And you know what, the very root of that desire came from my dad and his friends when I was young. Of course, older adults, when you're a young kid, always have the life advice that of learning from their mistakes. And the one thing I always took away from a couple of my dad's good friends was the biggest mistake they made in their life was not owning real estate. And when I was younger, I never really, I didn't really grasp that, but it never left my head. And they always told me, make sure the very first thing you do is buy a house, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. That's all they ever told me. And that stuck with me. I had two desires when I was younger. It was, I was born and bred in Calgary, Alberta, which is a very working class community, working town. So I was told to, get a red seal, which is, an interprovincial ticket for a trade, so that you always had something to fall back on. And then, of course, buy real estate. So I had that desire burning in me as a young kid. That was my focus. And I had two goals. One was to get a trade, and one was to buy a piece of real estate. And I was able to get into that when I was 21 by meeting up with a friend of mine in high school. And I just told him, I said, I want to buy a house. I know it's the right thing to do. And, we were kind of right out of high school, and he said, how are we going to do that? And I said, well, I don't know how we're going to do it exactly. I just know that we're going to do it. And I said, I've got some money in the bank. You've got some money in the bank. And, I know that it's a risk, but let's go and do this. And so next thing I know, I get a phone call from his parents, and they wanted to sit down and talk to this young new friend that my buddy had, who was asking him to take his money out of his RSPs and put it into real estate.
Yeah, I can imagine that was an interesting conversation right there off the bat, wasn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely was. And we sat down at dinner, and my friend's parents sat across the table, and they just said, okay, kid, explain to us exactly what you're trying to get our son into here. And I just said, we've got an opportunity at a young age to be able to get into real estate. And my dad always told me, get into a house as soon as you can. We've got the ability to do that. And I said, I think we can rent it out, and I think we can make some money doing this, and just jotted out a few very simple ideas. And, not too far into the conversation, I could tell that they were just making sure I was, I wasn't trying to take their son for a ride, but they knew that I knew what I was talking about, and I had the desire to do it. And we had dinner. We shook hands. They gave us the seal of approval, if you will. And me and my friend, we went and took our $20,000 each out of our RSPs and went and hunted for our first house, and we became homeowners at the age of 21. And it was a really exciting thing for me and us. And he's a very, very good friend of mine to date. He invests with me on a much higher level now, and we've done very well for ourselves. But what really kept me going in the real estate, or understanding it, was I bought another house right after that, and but then I tailed off into my welding business. I have another business that I basically spent 10 years building, and got lost. The real estate got lost for me. We owned the houses and we did very well, but I didn't really have any intentions of pursuing it. But what happened to me, what really got me back into the real estate over the past few years at such a high level and such a high desire now, was that over those 10 years, I built a business. I went through the struggles of everybody, living paycheck to paycheck, being an entrepreneur, and, trying to drive the bus as best you can, and building an operating business, and had its ups and downs, and slow times and good times. And it just wasn't really feeling like it was getting me ahead in life. And that was always my desire, was to control my own time, have control of my own life, and create the freedom and flexibility that allowed me to make my own decisions and never have to answer to anybody. And
that sounds like the classic Rebelpreneur mindset to me.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, I'm sure that's a pretty common theme on your interviews, I'm sure. And we all have that desire, and the desire just, it's something that burns inside, to really just want to be free. And everyone goes through their struggles to try and figure out exactly what that means for them. And my business basically, almost bankrupted me a couple of times, and I never got ahead. And it was funny because every few years, every 4 to 5 years, my buddy and I would turn around, and, obviously having our houses together, that was pretty much it, other than being friends. But, we needed money every once in a while. And every few years, I seemed like I needed to pull money out and invest it in my company, or go buy more equipment, or, cover myself in hard times. And we did that three times over the course of 10 years. And I looked back a few years ago, And this is probably about 6 years ago. And I looked back and I was like, man, all this struggle and all this time I'm putting into an operating business, just to stay afloat and to have all the stresses of day-to-day operations. And yet my house that I bought when I was 21 has more than doubled in value. We paid down a mortgage by doing nothing other than renting it out. And I've been able to actually pull out tax-free cash every time we refinance the property every 4 years. And it dawned on me that I was able to pull out more cash out of that one property that I spent $20,000 on, 10 years prior, than I had ever had in the 10 years of working towards my trade and building up my business and having more in the bank. And I still had an asset.
That was a huge revelation for you, wasn't it?
That was my revelation. You're exactly right. And, and 5 years ago, I had a partner in my welding business, and we were ramping up and things were going really well. And, I was still really focused on that, but that thought in the back of my head never left me. Like it just started to burn a hole in the back of my head that, that I was putting my time and effort into the wrong place. Or not necessarily the wrong place, but not a place that was going to take care of me for the rest of my life, no matter what I was doing with my time.
I really like your story of how you became aware of the difference between owning a job and owning a business that is going to give you the life that you want. And that's the tagline of the show. It's not just building a great business. It's living a great life and making sure that whatever business you choose is the business that is going to give you the life that you want, because it's so easy to build that business up and then realize I don't have the flexibility. I don't have the freedom. Even if if I'm making a little bit of money, is there a better way to design the business so that I can live the life that I want and not feel like I have to choose between the two?
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's and it's something, you usually spend a lot of time, learning the hard way, as most successful people do and entrepreneurs do. We struggle. We do what we think is right. We're trying to break all the rules by, doing it our own way. But really, at the end of the day, you get to sit back and you get to look at it and say, is this really where I want to be spending my time? And is it really helping me accomplish my goals?
Yeah.
And the welding business, like I said, on, my partnership in the welding business 5 years ago went south. And all of a sudden, the foundation of this business I'd been building, basically crumbled beneath me. And it was nothing more than just a difference of opinion with my partner. And that was really where my shift happened. My real shift is realizing that, that everything I thought was securing my life and my family longevity was a false reality. To be honest, it was something that could disappear tomorrow and really have nothing to show for. I was the business. If I wasn't there doing it day in and day out, there was no business. And that really scared me a lot, because I've got 4 young kids now. Then I was just starting to have kids, and I've got a wife that I'm, I love and I care about, and I'm responsible for taking care of my family. And that's where the major shift happened. I knew that there was no more time to mess around with, with putting my time and effort into something that wasn't going to take care of me for a long time, for the rest of my life, regardless of what I was doing. And that's really where the idea of top-down investments was born. And it was really just that paradigm shift in my mind of the realization of that one thing that I did when I was 21 years old from the advice I got when I was 12. And it took a long time to finally catch up and really plant the seed, but it's really paid off now, and the business is doing very well.
What you're really describing is something that Michael Gerber talks about, the difference between building a business that you work for, as opposed to building a business that works for you. And I think of a lot of listeners who maybe they're self-employed or maybe they're building their business or trying to scale their business. Most of our listeners are either trying to start it or trying to scale it. But listen to what Guy is saying. You don't want to build your business in a way that depends upon you being there. So if your business is built around a service or built around your expertise, you need to figure out ways that you can get leverage on yourself. People want results. They don't necessarily want you personally, but they want the results that you're able to deliver. So how can you do that in a way that the business survives even if you're not there to run it? That is the ultimate leverage. And that's what you've been able to create with top-down investments, managing over $35 million. That's quite a step up from where you began so many years ago with your first $20,000 investment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when you hear it out loud like that, because I don't say it to myself very often,
right.
But when you hear it back, it's it's amazing. It's just a testament to just dedication and motivation and believe in yourself. And that's really what happened. And I did it for myself. Like, I've obviously progressed pretty rapidly over the past few years with the business, but it's really, at the beginning, it really started with just my own desire to take care of myself and my family. And I wasn't out there necessarily looking for people's money to go, try and sell the fact that I could make them money. I was just starting it to build a wealth and a legacy for myself and my family, and proving to myself that I was actually able to do it in a way that made sense for not only me, but everybody that was I was involved with.
Yeah.
And it was
all very important and very valid reasons to be in business. If you're not making any money, and you can't support your business, you can't support your family, then you're not going to change the world if you can't even pay your own bills. So a lot of people, they get this pie in the sky idea that, my business is not about the money. It's about making a difference in people's lives. But you can't make a difference in people's lives if you're struggling to make ends meet. So money is a very important aspect of what you're doing, and it shouldn't be minimalized. And by thinking about it in that way, you're able to design the business that you want, that gives you what you need so that you can live the life and you are making a difference in the lives of people who are coming to you, investing with you, and then seeing their investment grow over time. I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest hindrance to people when they first get started in real estate investing? What's the biggest problem you see, and how can they overcome it?
It's a good question. It's if I could put it, put my thumb on one main point, it would probably just be the education piece and people's unfamiliarity with it. Like you just said, money's a very important part of everybody's life. I think it's pretty underrated, to be honest, how important it is for people. Of course, everybody works for their paycheck, but the desire to be wealthy and have that take care of you is always there. And people hold that near and dear. And, me trying to part people from their money that they've been working their entire lives away for, when they're not educated enough to understand exactly what we're doing, that's the biggest hurdle that they face. And so my job is obvious in the sense of operating my business and doing it well and taking care of people's investments. But my other job that comes first is to really help people understand what it is that they can do for themselves, whether I'm involved or not. It's really my goal and my passion is to really just educate people in general about the ability that real estate offers them, the ability to create the wealth that they've always dreamed of, and to invest in their family long term and their children and their children's children. And that to me is I'm so passionate about real estate because I truly believe that it is the one thing in life that will always take care of you if you do it right. Of course, there's always, people have had bad experiences in every business, and real estate is no exception. But if you understand how to make it work for you and to make the right decisions of where to invest and how to invest and how that aligns with your goals, once you figure that out, and once you get past that hurdle of not understanding, once the gates open, you just see people's lives instantly change. And it's building trust to allow me to be able to do that for people. That's obviously a big part of any business is your relationship, your ability to create relationships and hold on to them and cherish them. And if you can back that up by the ability to generate exponential wealth for people while they kick back in their lawn chairs on their beaches or at their house watching you work, that's just an exceptional feeling for me. And I love every minute of it. And it really hits home for me when I see that effect happen to other people.
Yeah, it's very transformational. And every business, I believe, is out to make a difference and to transform people's lives for the better. Some people will transform your spiritual life. Some will transform your mental health. Some will just increase your physical well-being or your physical quality of life. But money is a great transformational tool, especially if you don't have it. Your life can really transform very rapidly in the wrong direction. So being skilled at how to do this and create these transformations for people is very critical. Real estate is the vehicle that has worked for you, and that's the vehicle that you use to create these transformational shifts in people's lives. Now, I see on television, on the internet, different people who offer real estate investing courses. We'll teach you how to go out and find the properties and make the offers and use our money or use your money or whatever it is. They pay half or you pay half. There's a lot of people who are trying to teach how to do this. What would be the advantage of, if I've got money to invest, instead of trying to figure all of this out, or even to take a course, what would be an advantage of working with someone like you that's going to help me get to where I want to be a lot faster?
Well, the reality is, I did all those courses and, it's, you can look at it like, there's a lot of people out there just trying to get your money, and people look at these pipe dreams and get rich quick things. And it's funny because real estate courses and all of the stuff that, investing courses, they tend to fall into that category in a lot of people's mindsets. And it goes back to the education piece. But for me, I've ever since I was 21, although I never continued, in a real estate business, I always stayed up to date with information. I always went to the seminars, the weekend seminars, and learned about how people were making money in it, just to help me get a better understanding, and hung around people that knew about real estate and invested in real estate and owned real estate. And that was a 12 year cycle of just soft touches along the way and keeping my head in it and understanding how to get there. And, eventually I bit the bullet and paid for courses, and they taught me how to do it, and it made sense to me. And I'm a numbers guy. And if you're crunching the numbers correctly and you're, limiting your risks and variables, and you're making educated decisions, it became very apparent to me that it was more than possible, and I was able to achieve it. And, for people that, back to your question about taking courses or the option of taking courses or investing, it's going to be a decision as to whether people actually want to be in the business of operating a real estate company, or going and doing their own work to invest for themselves, which is very real and possible. But for the most part, most people just don't want to do that. It's a lot of hard work, like any business. It takes years to get there. And, that I founded my company in 2015. But like I just said, there was 10, 12 years of learning behind it, and, learning the hard way and going through the ropes. And what we offer people is not only the education piece to help them understand how our business works and how we're able to make money for them and for us, of course, but it's also to help them understand that we are here as a service to them, to be able to provide them with the same returns, or very close to, in most times better than they're able to get for themselves, without doing any of the work. Because most people that have money to invest, they have jobs, they have families, they've had their careers, they're long down the road. Not everybody's a spry 21-year-old that has their whole life ahead of them and is willing to do the 5 years of grinding and hard work to build up their business and start to invest themselves. But for the most part, we offer a turnkey solution for people to invest in our company with a proven model. And at the end of the day, their money is still backed by a piece of real estate. So it's kind of taking the risk out of it from partnering with us and our team that has a specialized program and has a proven ability to make people money. And that's really a decision that most people wind up coming to is, all this is really nice and, you're doing a fantastic job, but I don't want to do that. I just want you to do it for me. and I don't want you to lose my money.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well,
if you put that together in a little package, then it tends to work out pretty well.
That does make a lot of sense. So if people are interested in learning more and they are interested in passive real estate investment, being educated as to what they're doing, but not actually having to go out, find the properties, do the deals, which can be a very expensive learning curve, especially since there's so much competition out there. And you have already learned all the hard lessons, the hard way, and over many years of experience to be able to do these things on behalf of your investors so they can do whatever it is they want to do, and they don't have to become a real estate expert in order to invest in real estate. That's what I think is the real takeaway here, that's the real advantage to our listeners who maybe they're in a position where they realize, okay, I want to invest, and I know that real estate is a great investment, but I don't know where to get started. Here's a great place to get started is with Guy Bouchard. It's topdowninvestments.com. And go check that out. If you are in the financial wherewithal to invest, then you definitely should check this website out and see the results as well. And I'm impressed by it. And I should mention, I get no compensation. There's no affiliate referral program. I don't even know if that exists in the real estate business. But I'm just recommending it to our listeners. If this fits with you, then I encourage you to get in touch with them. And we'll have that link on the website, topdowninvestments.com. Guy, this has really been educational. And any final thoughts or words of wisdom you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Yeah, back to the website. People, my words of wisdom to people is, don't make any hasty decisions. It's to educate themselves and make sure that what they're planning to do is, aligns with their goals. And you can register. Anybody can register on our website with a name and an email address, and we send out updates all the time. And that gives people access to the information we have on our website. So they can download our investment packages for all of our historical deals. They can go on there and they can really get a feel for the numbers. They can walk through the whole process. We've got videos on there of updates of all the work we do to our to our properties, and really just get some information for people, because it takes time for them to understand what it is we do. And they're always welcome to reach out and ask more questions about what we do. But my words of wisdom for people is to never give up. It's as simple as that. There's no special recipe, but success is on the other side of all of your obstacles. And that's not something I just say. It's something that I literally just sat down and told myself yesterday with all the obstacles we face on a daily basis. But the life is a challenge, and we enjoy going through those because we know it's going to get us to where we want to be. And I just wish everybody that's out there the best of luck in their life, and hope that everything in their world is turning out the way they want it to. And if it's not, figure out what you need to do differently. And we're here to help in any way that we can.
I've been speaking with Guy Bouchard. He is the founder of Top Down Investments, who has overseen and managed the acquisition of over $35 million in real estate assets and earned some very impressive returns. You can find out more about his award-winning company at topdowninvestments.com. Guy, it's been a real pleasure to get to know you. Thanks so much for being on Rebelpreneur Radio today. I really appreciate it.
Ralph, thank you so much. It was my pleasure. I really appreciate you having me.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.